There's a reason why ethical behavior is scarce in markets. The key element of what many see as what makes a market necessary is that it provides incentive. Incentive to work, incentive to innovate, incentive to keep the world running. The mechanism by which this incentive is provided is money, from either profit or wages for work. I believe the biggest foundational problem of any market system, no matter how free or regulated the market is that which is profitable is not always the same as that which is ethical. Good point. If you don't agree with my definition of ethical, then my entire premise falls to pieces, and you might as well stop watching right now. Ethics is essentially one system for determining what is right from what is wrong. Right and wrong are thoroughly human-constructed values, and as such, there is no universal physical referent that we can use to determine whether something is right or wrong unless we define the terms in a more useful language, which is what I'm going to do now. Something that is wrong is that which causes pain, suffering, or even simply a decrease in well-being. Something that is right is that which increases well-being and happiness and reduces pain and suffering. Well-being is something we can attach physical reference to. For example, we know that starvation is a form of suffering, so therefore under this new definition domain, it lessens well-being, and to cause another person to go hungry would be to cause suffering and would therefore be ethically wrong. Again, if you don't agree, if you think that causing suffering is right and that promoting happiness and health is wrong, then listen no further, turn the video off now. Much of the medical industry today profits from keeping people sick, selling them drugs that mask symptoms rather than helping to achieve real health through proper lifestyle changes, diet, and nutrition. Advertising is unendingly pounded into the minds of children and adults alike, conditioning us to consume product upon useless product with little regard for the environment, which is essentially an act of aggression against every human being on the planet, since our lives depend on the ecosystem that this kind of overt materialistic consumption puts into danger. Items are made to break down faster than necessary to increase profit margins. Improper safety practices in the name of saving money cause oil spills, allow harmful chemicals into our food, cosmetics, cleaning products, etc., all in the name of profit. This is the incentive system of the market system at work. There is money to be made in harming others. However, the biggest and most crushing and fundamental issue created by the market system is inequality. It is absolutely impossible for there to ever be even a veneer of an equal society coexisting with markets. Many say that money is just a medium of exchange, that it can't cause any problems on its own, which is a red herring to say that it's just a medium of exchange, when it is the act of owning and exchanging itself that invariably ends in inequality. Inequality is measurably correlated with suffering across social strata. Not quite. It's not that the more wealthy you get, the more harmful you act. It's that the more inequality there is in a nation or group of people or on a planet, the higher the rates of crime, disease, and social instability are. We are social creatures. We are not moral or amoral solely on the basis of our genes. We know this scientifically. People act as a response to their environment, and the practice of ownership and exchange, dominance and hierarchy invariably leads to some distrust, dissent, violence, and amorality in a society. I'm not saying that ending market exchange would fix everything either. There are plenty of other factors to consider, but we are never going to have a healthy, moral society existing with a market system. It's just not possible. At least without some radical structural changes that somehow make it so that in the market there's not so much radical inequality, and so that harmful but profitable practices are de-incentivized. If everybody had access to a computer whenever they needed one, would anyone steal computers? If anyone had access to food whenever they needed it, would anybody steal food? If anybody had access to abundant energy, would there be wars for energy resources? Of course not. The way to alleviate most crime and social problems is by creating a society that meets people's needs. Not just food, shelter, and water, but social needs, entertainment, personal fulfillment as well. Do people who are loved, fed, fulfilled, inspired, and aspiring act in antisocial ways? They do not. Any prison psychiatrist can confirm this for you. Criminals are a result of circumstance. Almost every single rapist and murderer was physically abused as a child, and the rest felt deprived in other ways, emotionally or psychologically. Building a toy train that lasts 4 years at 75% of the material resource cost of building a train that would last 50 years is empirically wasteful. yet empirically more profitable. That is a fact. And having a market incentivizes production of the former over the latter. Many mistakenly believe that competition within markets will eventually lead to that toy train that lasts 50 years being built. But competition does not really work that way. Company A will build a train that lasts the 4 years, and the mechanism of competition will incentivize Company B to make a train that lasts 5 years. Then Company A may make theirs last 5 years and put a shinier engine on it. And then Company B retorts with a return to 4 years, but faster speeds and a new aerodynamic design. Then Company A makes it last 4.5 years with even faster speeds, multiple color options, and a new sleeker, smaller engine. All the while, we could have had trains 4 times as fast and 10 times as durable. Competition does not incentivize efficiency at all, but rather a small portion of variability around the least efficient possible. True, the current inequality is due to a sort of Frankenstein monster of capitalism we have today called neoliberalism or corporatism. So no, a truly free market is not to blame for today's inequality. But nobody has yet shown me a viable mechanism by which inequality could ever hope to be circumvented in a truly free market. If you can demonstrate for me somehow that everyone in a free market would have access to the same level of goods and services as everybody else, I will gladly rethink my stance. Also, we must remember that interference in a free market is incentivized by a free market, because interfering in a market for your own benefit will bring you more benefit. Of course not. Listen back to everything I said. I'm promoting equality. Does making you work and then taking the fruits of that labor away from you and giving it to others sound very equal? Does it sound ethical by my definition of promoting happiness and reducing harm? It does not. I would never give anyone else claim over the fruits of your labor. This is a gross misunderstanding of my perspective. Robotics today are highly advanced. Most, if not all, production could be accomplished with completely minimal human participation and oversight. The point is to make the products of labor so abundant that to hoard them would be foolish. Design a system where literally a few labor hours per month from anyone who wishes to volunteer, nothing required, would provide all goods for all people. In this system, in this current system, or in a free market system, people must be employed or the system will fail because the people can't buy anything. It is this need to keep people employed that prevents us from utilizing automation to its fullest extent and limits production. And I wouldn't want to. I was speaking before of harm and aggression. While forcing anyone to do anything in most cases would certainly be both. The only obligation I expect from others is to not interfere with those who wish to create a system that provides for all who desire food, shelter, education, entertainment, etc. If you choose not to participate or not to accept the benefit of such society, I wouldn't dream of telling you that you must. But here's the clincher. Free markets do force participation at the figurative gunpoint of starvation. Participation is forced, and once participating, all negative behaviors previously talked about are incentivized. By running a society on the basis of markets and profit, we invariably cause some of the people in that society to act unethically, to interfere with the well-being of others and often themselves. Thank you.